I'm originally from Nicaragua, Central America, and during the 70s, Nicaragua was going through a civil war. There were guerrilla groups attacking the cities, and the streets there was fighting on the streets, there were protests on the streets, and it was a very unsafe, there was a lot of turmoil, power was being cut off from the cities, and a lot of violence on the streets.
And eventually they took over the country, right, the communist forces, and they started moving to El Salvador, which is in the 1980s, right, which is where I am from. My careless, my free and happy childhood was over in the moment that this war took over our country.
So during April 1978, the guerrilla was attacking the city where we used to live, and there was a lot of fighting on the streets, and the families were refuge in different houses, and we were protecting ourselves. So one of the houses that we were in, I remember as a 9-year-old at the time, I was hiding under a bed full of staff on top to protect us. And my brother, who was 17 at the time, was shot on the street. So I remember how his body was pulled to the living room, and he was lying on the floor, my mom crying on top of him, and we couldn't do anything because there were no doctors, there was no medicine, and the fighting was happening around us. So my mom couldn't lose another child, and so she sent my 2 brothers and myself out of the country. We went to Costa Rica, where we were there refugees. We became refugees there, and as a refugee, you feel you don't belong to the place, you don't belong to the country, because your home, your family, your friends, and everything else is back there in your home country. And you feel that place is just an interim place where you're going to refuge yourself, but one day to come back to your home, right? But you don't feel part of the country. You reject sometimes even the culture because you want to go back, and you are in a country that is not your own, and you're a foreigner. Some people don't accept you and reject you, and you're not part of the country.
In my experience, I moved out of the country because of the war, and it was just escalating. And at the very beginning, it was really just to visit some friends that lived in the United States. But now, when I was there, the war started getting worse and worse, and people said to me, "You can't go back. You cannot go back." So I felt trapped. I felt that I had been tricked into being taken out of the country, and I just wanted to go back. I just wanted to be back with my friends. I just wanted my life to be whatever that new normal had become in the last few years. I still wanted that because it was the only thing I knew. So in the United States, obviously I was not a refugee. I was just studying. I was just a student there. But we have relatives here in Canada, so I ended up eventually moving here with the rest of our family. We were reunited here. But that sense of I do not have a safe place to be is painful. It's painful because you really resent the war. You resent. You don't even take sides. You just want peace. You just want your life back. Coming to Canada, what a difference. I came to this country and I felt welcome. I felt accepted. I felt I could be part of this great nation. Somehow, I just sensed it in my heart, and I believed everything that Canada stood for. I respect it, and I realized that this was home for us from the very beginning. I remember the very first of July, and that my family, because we had just been reunited, we went to the park and there were fireworks. And I could see the children's faces. They were just so happy and so excited to see the spectacle. But fear was just gripping my heart. And at that very moment, I realized that even though I had left my country behind, I had left the war behind, the war was still inside me. And it was living inside me. And it took me a long time to actually hear, those kinds of wonderful, sounds, and not be afraid, not feel that sense, that urge that I just need to run. And that's the most wonderful thing that I've learned here. I've learned to not be afraid.
In my case, I was a refugee in Costa Rica for 7 years, and during that time, Canada opened its doors to refugees, to relocation of refugees from other countries. And I was, Canada opened its door. It welcomed refugees that were going through this type of situation. So my brother moved to Canada, and then my middle brother moved to Canada, and then I moved to Canada. I did the paperwork and all had a new beginning, a new opportunity, a new time to go and live my life and raise my kids and find
productive member of society.
And become productive members of society as well, and live here and become part of this great country.
I'd say start from the basic things. When I came to Canada, it was a winter, and I got my very first winter coat. I never forget it. We went to a church, Queensway Cathedral, on Queensway, remember? And I got my very first winter coat, and more than just the winter coat, what I felt is love. I felt that somebody cared enough to actually, give me this perfectly fine red coat that I would use in order to shield me and to protect me from the weather. The love that I felt from people, the care from my family started going to English as a second language. Immigrants, refugees, they want to lead full lives, but they need some tools. They need support for the first few months, maybe first year even. But then we went to school. I went to university, and so did you, and we've led full productive lives as a result of all those people that came together and gave us a hand at the moment of need.
It's sometimes it's just friendship. A lot of people that open up their doors and helped us out. When I came, I didn't even know where to go to apply for my health card, and some people helped me out. So even small things like telling me where to go and driving me there, or telling me how to take public transportation, it was a lot of help. So telling me where to go to find an ESL class so that I could learn English, all of those things that make a difference, and it's people that make a difference. So I'm Sal.
I'm Lucy, Caceres.
We've been married for 18 years now, and we have 3 wonderful kids.
Met in university about, it's quite a few years now, without dating ourselves. Been married for almost 18 years, and being part of First Assembly for about 10 years now.